and
It's,
she's a
I'm not saying Christian
Christian.
nationalists are good. I'm not saying Christian nationalists are good. I'm saying Christianity has to be reformed. No, we get rid of the Muslim. We keep the Muslim and get rid of the Islam. That's what's happening. They get introduced to our nation because we're one of the greatest nations.
Wait, how do
you
you get rid of Islam but keep the Muslim? A Muslim is somebody who subscribes to the religion of Islam.
They say that, but then when they actually recognize their views, they understand.
Let's just get rid of Christianity but keep the Christian, you know?
Well, no, because at our heart, we're a Christian nation.
No, we're not. Ho. Stop. Did you just hear what the fuck you said? You went from saying you're not a Christian nationalist to saying that at its heart, America's a Christian nation. No, it's not.
I'm not.
It's a secular nation.
I'm not saying it's a Christian nation. I'm not saying we're Christian nationalists. That is completely.
You just said the nation was fundamentally built on Christianity and that it was a Christian nation. That is a Christian nationalistic talking point.
Okay, I was trying to get in touch. I was trying to debate you about Islam, and I don't think it should be allowed or taught in schools.
Well, I don't really know a whole lot about Islam, but what do you mean taught in schools? Like the history of it shouldn't be taught?
I don't think not most of history. I think kids shouldn't be able to. We should probably teach against it more than for it in schools. It's more of a. I feel like it's more of a cult than an actual religion. So the fact that we prop it up in our schools, so we're allowed to. Public school here in Florida is allowing kids to pray to Allah and everything like that, and I think that's wrong.
Well, you realize that students have religious freedom, right? And a public school, being a government institution, has to abide by the Constitution.
Actually, we actually teach against like kids who are Scientologists. We speak against that, and we can't. And they're not even allowed to pray to Scientology within their schools. That is actually wrong, even though Scientology is considered a religion. Yeah, it's considered a religion. It is, by their own standards, considered a religion. They have their own Bible and their own creation myth. They're allowed to pray to that, but yet Muslim kids aren't allowed to. Muslim kids are still allowed to pray to their God, even though it causes more harm than good.
They said wait, I don't know what you're talking about when it comes to the Scientology thing. I'm trying to look it up.
Oh, yeah, sure. Was Scientology... People are trying to pray to their gods within Scientology. The U.S. Army and schools do not consider it a religion. So they don't allow religious freedoms inside of it. You can look these things up. Every country that doesn't recognize Scientology as a religion.
Sure. So if they don't recognize it as a religion, then that would be like a secondary problem then, because then
yeah, but I'm saying like
about them. Just like you probably wouldn't be able to get like a religious exemption or go start praying to the spaghetti monster. I recognize though that it's also kind of fucked up that we let the government basically determine what is and isn't a legitimate religion. But at the end of the day, I mean,
I don't think that's
people have hold on. People have freedom to pray in school. If you are forcing students to pray, or if the teacher is forcing students to pray, then there's a problem because you can't put religion on someone else. But the religious people are also allowed to express their religious beliefs so long as they're doing so in a respectful way. That's just constitutional.
Yeah, but I think that's a problem. I don't think you should be able to pray in public schools. I don't know if that should be okay. But even we shouldn't be allowing kids to fall into this trap because Islam itself is a terrible religion.
Wait, but if you have somebody who's at the public school and is a Muslim and they step away to go pray, like, what do you mean? They're not like evangelizing.
They shouldn't be allowed to pray. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. If something is obviously harmful to children, harmful to the country as a whole, I mean, we can see how Islam has taken over our online spaces.
I don't think that Islam has taken over online spaces. Christianity here in America is so much more prevalent.
Have you not seen, I don't know if you've been on YouTube or anything like that in the last couple of days. I mean, even in our movies now, in our children's programming, we were looking at more kids wearing hijabs and everything else all over TV. I mean, superheroes now are Muslim and everything else.
But like,
and we're seeing
maybe maybe you don't need to like that, but again, you're talking about now being against what the Constitution mandates.
Well, I'm not saying they don't have the freedom of religion. I'm not saying you
You
shouldn't be
are.
free.
You're saying they
I'm
shouldn't have the
saying
freedom of expressing their religion in a way that doesn't harm anyone else in a public
it
school. I
does.
think
I'm
that
saying
Islam is
it's
bullshit. I think
showing
that Christianity is bullshit. But I also think that having freedom here in America is incredibly important and is a fundamental American right. And I think that
you're
as stupid
allowed
as
to
fuck
pray
that
to
I
your
think
God.
religion is, people should still have the right to pray at schools so long as they're not forcing it on others or hurting anyone else.
Well, I'm saying it's not the fact that you're not allowed to pray to your God. I'm not saying that. You're allowed to do
You're
whatever you
saying they shouldn't
want.
be allowed to.
I'm saying that they shouldn't. It shouldn't be encouraged or looked at in any kind of way, even though it is now all it's turning into a cancer, really. And it's spreading throughout our public school systems, our movies, and our TVs because we're not
Are
getting
you
this in the
religious?
bud.
Are you religious by any
Me?
chance? Yeah.
No, I'm not religious.
So are you like atheists? What do you where do you fall in this?
Uh, I used to be a Catholic.
Okay.
Now I'm not really too much of a Catholic. I probably got to get back into it. But
So how would you
one of the
feel if
things
people were saying that you shouldn't have the right to
I would
pray
have
at
a
school?
discussion with those people, and I would say that maybe I would have a discussion with those people, and I'll tell them all the benefits Christianity and everything else brings to the world. Maybe.
Christianity hasn't really brought too many benefits, or if it has, it
I
hasn't
mean,
been because of Christianity.
it probably has. I mean, I would tell them that maybe the Bible has been one of the long-standing books. The Bible has some
So is
really
the
good
Can
lessons
a
Quran.
man
inside.
have his
So is the
The Bible has
citizenship
some
Quran.
really good.
there?
The Quran does not have really good
Wait, so
lessons.
you're saying that
Quran,
you specifically don't think that Muslims should be allowed to pray in school, but you think that it's fine if Christians want to?
I think the difference. I think Christians and Muslims praying in school are two different issues.
How?
One, one involves the idea of praying to a God that allows rape, murder, degeneracy throughout all of the Quran, and allows a man that has been known as a mass murderer to be prayed as an angel of sorts. And the other one
Wait, in the
provides
Bible you
peace.
have God okaying slavery.
I mean, in the Quran, it also has slavery. I'm not saying that God's virgin. I'm not saying everything in the Bible is
Yeah, but you have a huge double
100%
standard
okay.
here. I have no idea why if you're saying
I mean,
the
I think
God of
it's
the
the Old
Quran,
Testament.
Allah is really really bad, but the God of the Bible is also bad, but
Not
only
so
Muslims
bad.
shouldn't be allowed to pray? I don't understand.
Really, when we say this, like the when we talk about Muslims, we identify with like the Bible says you cannot have sex with your slaves. And have sex with your slaves. You can't beat them. You
In
can't beat them too
Islam or
much.
what? Are you talking about Islam?
Huh? I'm saying in the Bible, it's saying that if you hurt your slaves to the point where it is their irreparable damage, they get their um pensions early and they get to leave.
Okay, but
If
it
you
also
break a
says if
tooth,
you beat them and they recover, then it's okay because they're your property.
yes,
So it's okay with you
yes.
beating slaves.
The slaves you can only have done for 7 years.
No, that's
And
wrong. That's not true. That was only for Israelite
the
slaves, I
Bible
believe.
also says if a slave comes to your home escaping slavery, you must take him in.
I don't give a shit. God of the Bible in Leviticus and Exodus said that you can go to the nations around you and get slaves and they will become your property and you can bequeath them to your children. And then in Exodus it says if you beat your slave with a rod and he recovers after a day or two, then the person that beat the slave shall not be punished because he's your property. You're telling me that that's like
So
okay?
when that is the idea of slavery has pretty much died out and is unuseful. When the Bible talked about these things, it was probably to in order for the Israelites and everything else when they went to war, it was to be able to keep war prisoners. So
Okay,
that
yeah,
is
everybody says this
totally different.
same dumb shit and I don't care. So what, keeping war prisoners as slaves is now okay? No, that's also that
Um,
would also be wrong.
in Oh, well, I mean, like in places like the places like Soviet Union, they also kept slaves, and they weren't really slaves because they committed crimes against the place. They just worked it off. So I don't think the
The
Bible
Bible
is necessarily
specifically
talking
says you
about.
can go to the nations around you and get slaves. It didn't say that you can keep slaves from war. It said that you can go to the nations around you and get slaves and then they'll become your property.
Well, I don't know about all that. I all I know is the fact is like they the slaves in that sense. They're not really proper. They're not really the same as Muslim slaves. So Muslim slaves, instead of you can have sex with them, you can kill
Wait,
them,
you're
you
telling
can
me
do a
that
lot.
slaves in the Bible is you're literally saying like, "Oh, the Bible just had a nicer version of slavery." Owning
I
another human
pretty
being as property is immoral and despicable. And whether Islam allows for even worse treatment of slaves is aside the point. The point of the matter is, I would say, even more so, Christianity is the most prevalent religion here in America. Christianity has the most influence here in America, even so much so as being able to influence legislation and policies. And Christians in the olden days
but
invoke.
that
Wait,
is
wait, wait, wait,
going
wait,
to
stop.
change.
No, stop. Christians back then invoked the Bible to justify them owning slaves before the slaves were set free here in America. The Bible, if anything,
Abolitionists
has
also the
resulted in way more
abolitionists also did
negativity
that.
across this country than Islam has.
But hold on, abolitionists also did stuff with the Bible in order to talk about how the slaves should be free. They were
Yes,
also
isn't that a
Christian.
problem
Even
to
though they,
you? That there's abolitionists saying, look, the Bible said they should be free. And then there's slave owners that are saying, look, we can have slaves.
well, like that's why I'm not so religious anymore. I don't think about the Christian religions anymore because I find hypocrisy within them. It doesn't mean I find the Christian religions a lot more tolerable than what's happening in America. I think this is why people like Andrew Tate, Sneeko, this is why they're becoming more popular because they're
Andrew
pushing
Tate
more of
literally
a
just became
Muslim
a
agenda.
Muslim.
Huh? Yeah, Andrew Tate. That's why the reason why he just became a Muslim because he agrees with their views.
I don't even know what to tell you.
Sneeko is
Yeah, and the Bible
apologizing.
talks about how the wife belongs to the husband and how he needs to the wife needs to submit to the husband. There's all kinds of bullshit
Like
like
I
that in
said,
the Bible too.
I'm saying that with all these things, Christianity is a lot more tolerable than Islam. A lot more.
I don't know if that's true or not, and I don't care because
Just
it's not about whether or not it's more
Christianity.
tolerable. It's the fact that Christianity has brought more harm on this world. Or excuse me, not
No,
this
that
world.
is
Sorry, sorry, sorry,
untrue.
sorry.
That
Hold
is
on. Let me
untrue.
backtrack, please. Not this world. Sorry. Christianity has brought more harm in America, and whether or not one religion is worse than the other, you cannot have such a blatant double standard where you say it's
Yes,
fine for
you
Christians
can
to
when it
pray
is
in
one.
school, but it's not fine for Muslims to pray in school. You're either
Because
for it or
I
against it as
doubt
principle.
you understand what Muslims actually do and what they have done to this and what they are currently doing to this nation.
Okay. You haven't explained what they've
Look at
done
what
to this
they're
nation.
doing.
Yeah, look at what they're doing. They're on TV. Okay?
Not just on TV. They're gonna push they're gonna push laws soon.
Push
They're gonna
laws
be in
soon?
everything.
Wait,
Yes.
Christians right now push laws. Donald Trump arguably won the election
Do I
because
think
of
all these
white
Christian
evangelicals.
nationalists are
White
good?
evangelicals in this country are the most anti-gay people. They're the most anti-gay
Well,
group, even
I'm not
compared to
I'm not
American
talking about
Muslims.
evangelicals. I'm not talking about evangelicals. Like I said, I was a Catholic.
I
So
don't
and
care
even
what
the
you're
Pope
talking about.
says
I'm
gay
explaining that
people.
Christianity has far more influence, has done far more harm, has the more
But
potential to
that's
do more
going
harm,
to change.
but you're
Do
saying
you
that
think
people should be
right
able to be
now?
Christian and pray in school, but not be Muslim and pray in school.
Okay, but I'm saying right now, America has been built off the back of Christianity, has been pushed laws and
This is
things
not
to
true.
help and minority people,
This is not true.
minorities
This
in
is
a
not true.
whole. We've done a lot
You realize
for a lot
America
of
was
people.
specifically founded as a secular nation, right? There's no religion in the Constitution.
There's no religion in the Constitution, but I think it was probably implied.
It was so
Majority is a majority.
implied. Okay, gotcha. Do you see how you
So
don't have
this,
any argument whatsoever? And I think that
no, I'm saying
you
right
recognize that
now,
you're caught in a
you
huge
do you
contradiction
agree that
here.
Andrew Tate? I'm asking, do you agree that Andrew Tate is probably a bad influence on our youth?
Sure.
Okay. Do you believe Sneeko is a bad influence on our youth?
Sure. What does this have to do with
Okay.
religion?
So you believe all these people are a bad influence on our youth? Sneeko has been on camera apologizing to Muslims
Wait, I
because he
also
made
think
fun
that
of them.
Lauren
Andrew
Boebert is a
Tate,
bad influence on society, and she's a
I'm not saying Christian
Christian.
nationalists are good. I'm not saying Christian nationalists are good. I'm saying Christianity has to be reformed to the point where
No, it.
most, you can talk about most Christians
Holy
or
shit, dude. You realize that the fact that westernized Muslims are more accepting of gay people as compared to Christians here in
that's because
America?
they're in a
Hold on,
Christian
stop. It
nation.
demonstrates that it's not necessarily the religion problem, but rather it is literally Christians are more reactionary. They are more anti-American policies than
Well,
Muslims
no,
are
that's
here in this
just because
country.
they're in a Western nation. It's not because they're Christian. It's not. It's not because they're the Muslim in them are being taken out. You got Muslims over here telling us that Western nations indoctrinate Muslims
And you have
because that's what
Christians
we do.
here
We
saying
take
that
out.
that gay people are
We keep
indoctrinating
the
children
Muslims
and
and
are all
get rid of them, and
pedophiles.
we
What are you
no,
saying
we
right now?
no, we get rid of the We keep the Muslim and get rid of the Islam. That's what's happening. They get introduced to our nation because we're one
What?
of the greatest nations
Wait,
on the planet.
how do you get rid of Islam but keep the Muslim? A Muslim is somebody who subscribes to the religion of Islam.
They say that, but then when they actually recognize their views, they
Let's
understand
just
that
get
they're
rid of
not really.
Christianity but keep the Christian, you know?
Well, no, because at our heart, we're a Christian nation.
No,
I
we're
doubt that would
not.
ever
Ho,
happen.
ho, ho, ho,
That's an
ho.
unrealistic.
Stop. Did you just hear what the fuck you said? You went from saying you're
Yeah,
not a Christian nationalist to saying that at its heart, America's a Christian nation. No, it's
I'm
not.
not.
It's a secular
I'm not
nation.
saying it's a Christian nation. I'm not saying we're Christian nationalists. That is completely
You
wrong.
just said the nation
Christianity,
was fundamentally built on Christianity and that it was a Christian nation. That is a Christian
Christian values.
nationalistic talking point.
Yeah, but again, like I said, now we've understood more things that the Bible cannot teach. That we've understood, we've talked about it, we've looked at things, we looked at the psychology. I think gay people are great. So I think all those things are great, and the Bible teaches against that. So I think the Bible is stupid. But to take away Christians' idea of self, because majority of Christians aren't bad people. They aren't. They just aren't
I
bad
disagree
people.
with you. I think that there's a
But
good chunk that the majority of
Muslims,
them are.
I
Not to
think
mention the
all
statistics
Muslims.
literally contradict you. Why are Muslims more accepting of gay people then?
Okay, well, like I said, if you're accepting of gay people, that's because you're in a Western nation, one of the greatest Western nations on this planet.
And Muslims are
You're
more
going to
accepting of gay
lose.
people than a lot of Christians.
You're going to lose what made you fundamentally Muslim.
Fundamentally Christian, you mean, or Muslim?
I'm thinking if you come to our nation, this great nation, you come here, you're going to lose what makes you fundamentally Muslim. That's why we're seeing such a switch because
What
Muslims
is
are allowed to
fundamentally
indoctrinate
Muslim?
kids.
What is fundamentally Muslim?
Murdering, the idea of killing other religions, the idea of having sex with children,
You
the
realize that
idea
there's different
of
levels, right? Just like there's certain degrees of Christianity. So
there can't be a different level
there's
of
some
well,
Christianity that's very progressive, and then there's some Christianity that's very women belong in the kitchen, gay people are degenerates. Like,
so
yeah,
when you talk
there's
well,
levels
you
of
can't have
religion,
it's
my
not the
dude.
same thing with Islam.
That is not true. There are certain
It's
areas in the
not the same
world
thing
that
with
are made up
Islam
of majority Muslim that are more progressive than other parts of the world that are made up
because
of
they
majority
are
Islam.
losing what made them Muslim.
No, you're conflating Sharia and Islam right now. You don't even know what you're talking about.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not conflating. I'm not conflating. We can
I
look
can't believe that
throughout
I'm
the we
put in
can
this
look throughout the
position right now.
Quran.
It's
Hold on,
just
we can
let,
even
let
look
me make it
throughout the
clear that like I fucking hate religion. I think Islam and Christianity are all fucking stupid as shit. But yet I'm somehow the guy here defending people's freedom in America. You realize I know you're not a Christian
You're not.
anymore.
I'm
I
not
know you're not a
saying
Christian
in their
anymore, but
religion.
you
I'm
were a
saying
Christian, and now you're the one arguing against fundamental American values.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to pray to
All
them.
right, you have a good rest
So
of your day.
I'm still okay.